Welcome to Absolute Trust Talk with your host, Kirsten Howe. Absolute Trust Talk brings you tips, tools, advice, and interviews to help you build a reliable knowledge base on estate planning, business, and finance to start preparing for your future today.
Hello and welcome to Absolute Trust Talk. I am Kirsten Howe. I'm the managing attorney at Absolute Trust Counsel. And we are back for another round of conversation about O.J. Simpson. I felt that it was important that I get on the microphone and talk about the latest developments for a few reasons. First of all, my longtime listeners know that we provide celebrity trust and estates gossip whenever we can find it. And I know people would expect to hear me talk about the latest development in O.J.'s case. And it's fun. So, and there actually are a couple of lessons to take away. So let's get started. Just to remind you, O.J. Simpson, very famous American, infamous American, died in April 2024. He was living in Nevada at the time. So his estate is being administered in the state of Nevada. So April 2024, I want you to pay attention to that date because here we are now. It's November 2025. And what I'm about to talk to you about is a recent development in OJ's probate. So it's been over a year and a half and his probate is still ongoing. So lesson number one, takeaway number one for you all listening is, as I've said many times, probate takes a long time. And if you can do planning to avoid probate, that's really going to be beneficial to your family. Okay, so that's a basic lesson. You've heard me say it many times. And now here you have a real concrete example of, oh yeah, it really does take a long time. So what happened yesterday, there was a big announcement, or at least the press made a big deal about it. Everybody covered it. And the headline of this announcement was that the executor of OJ's estate had agreed to pay the Goldman family close to $58 million. And in case you don't remember, the Goldman family, those are the parents of Ron Goldman, the young gentleman who was also killed along with Nicole Brown Simpson. They got a judgment years and years ago, 1997, against OJ. Even though he wasn't convicted criminally, he was found civilly responsible for those deaths. And the Goldman family got a judgment of around $33 million back in 1997. Now, fast forward almost 30 years later, and OJ paid little, if any, on that judgment during his lifetime. So it accumulated interest over the years. And so what happened in the probate is that the Goldman family filed what's called a creditor's claim. They might call it something different in Nevada, but that's the basic concept, and that's what we call it in California, creditor's claim, back in July of 2024. So over a year ago, they filed their creditor's claim, and it's just a document where they say to the court, we are owed this much money by this decedent, and we expect to be paid out of this probate. So they filed their creditor claim. I believe it was stated that they were owed $117 million with all the interest that has accrued in the last almost 30 years. So what happened yesterday is that the executor filed the document that's required of them, which says we accept that creditor's claim. They filed it for a different number, and the executor stated that they think perhaps the interest was improperly calculated, that the amount owed wasn't actually $117 million, but it was in fact closer to $58 million. So the executor filed this document saying, yes, we accept that creditor claim. And what that means is not what the headline said. It doesn't mean the executor said, I agree to pay that $58 million. I'm going to sit down and write a check. Don't worry about it. That's not what that means. It means the executor is saying, yes, it's a valid claim and it should be paid from the estate. That doesn't change the fact that OJ's estate is something like $1 million, $2 million, and a creditor claim of $58 million. It's just not going to happen. They might get a little bit, but the executor has to be paid first. The executor's attorney has to be paid first. All the expenses involved in the probate, the court filing fees, all of that stuff has to happen first. And then what's left will be used to satisfy legitimate creditor claims. But again, it's just not going to be very much. So that big headline, Executor agrees to pay $58 million to the Goldmans, it's a little misleading. I'm sure it's sold some newspapers. It got people to pay attention, but really nothing is different from what we knew at the very beginning. Okay, I hope you found this interesting and fun, and maybe you learned a little lesson or two. And thanks for joining me. And I look forward to connecting with you next time.
Thank you for joining us today for another episode of Absolute Trust Talk Live. If you enjoyed listening in, then don't forget to subscribe. You can find us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you may listen by searching Absolute Trust Talk. While you're there, we would also love for you to leave us a review. And then why not share your favorite episodes with family, friends, or colleagues too? You can find all of our shows and corresponding show notes by visiting absolutetrustcouncil.com. You'll also find a variety of other free resources, including our ebooks, videos, blogs, presentations, and more. If you need help with your estate planning or administration, we also offer a free discovery call to help get the process started. You can find more information on booking your session by visiting absolutetrustcouncil.com/scheduling. If you join us for the broadcast, you can submit questions during the show. But if not, don't worry. You can always get in touch with us by sending a quick message to info@absolutetrustcouncil.com. Thanks again for listening. We'll see you soon.
This podcast is not meant to take the place of legal advice from an attorney and does not create an attorney-client relationship. If you do have a legal question or issue, please consult with an attorney.